Everyone in the city feared the name Ly. He was not just a successful CEO, he was a storm in human form. Calm on the surface, yet fierce enough to destroy anyone who dared stand in his way. His cold eyes, his precise voice, his ruthless decisions, all of it made people believe he was born without weaknesses. They said he had no family, no past, no softness in his heart. But they were wrong, very wrong. The truth began to unravel on an otherwise quiet Monday morning when a delivery was made to the front desk of Ly's company. Not flowers, not a lawsuit, but a gold-trimmed envelope carrying a document that would shake the entire corporation. To Sam, a woman most employees only knew as the one Ly often looked at without speaking, stood frozen in the lobby. Her hands trembled as she held the envelope addressed specifically to her. When she opened it, her breath vanished. It was a property deed, a legally sealed certificate for a luxury villa worth over $1 million, located in the most prestigious district of the capital. The donor's name was written in bold letters, Madame Aurora S. Silence fell across the building like a sudden eclipse. Even Ly, who had just stepped out of the elevator, stopped in his tracks the moment he recognized that name. Aurora. The ghost of the business world. The rumored queen of underground investments. A woman who appeared in no photographs, gave no interviews, and yet every tycoon in Asia bowed at the mention of her. Some said she bought governments, others swore she built empires overnight, only to burn them down for sport. And today, she had given a fortune to Sam. Why? No one dared to ask. But the signature at the bottom of the deed answered the one question no one even knew existed. Madame Aurora, mother of Ly. Was it an approval, a warning, a test? Or was it an invitation into a world Sam was never prepared to enter? The silence in the lobby felt heavier than thunder. All eyes shifted between Ly and Sam, waiting for an explosion, a denial, an accusation, anything. But Ly didn't speak. He only walked forward, his steps slow and measured, like a predator approaching unfamiliar prey. "Come with me," he said quietly. Sam could barely breathe as she followed him into the private elevator. The golden envelope still trembled in her hands. Her mind raced. Was this a mistake? A cruel joke? Or worse, had she just been dragged into something far beyond her understanding? The doors closed. Only then did Ly turn to look at her. His voice was calm, but there was a storm behind his eyes. "Did she meet you?" Sam blinked. "Who?" "Madame Aurora." Ly didn't answer. His silence was confirmation enough. He pressed another button, one that didn't exist on the visible panel. The elevator descended, not up into a floor she never knew was there. When the doors opened, the world changed. A vast hidden chamber revealed itself. Marble floors, antique sculptures, walls lined with security monitors and confidential documents. This wasn't an office. It was a battlefield disguised as a sanctuary. Ly walked ahead without hesitation. "That woman," he said, "doesn't give gifts. She makes moves." Sam clutched the golden envelope tighter. "Then why give me a villa?" Ly stopped. Slowly, he turned, and for the first time since she met him, she saw something raw in his eyes. "Because my mother," he said quietly, "has just declared you part of the game." A chill crawled down Sam's spine. What kind of game required $1 million villa as an opening move? Sam had never felt so small. She was just an ordinary woman who once struggled to pay rent. Yet now she stood in a secret underground chamber belonging to one of the most powerful families in Asia. Her fingers tightened around the deed, as if it were both a blessing and a curse. Ly finally sat down at a long obsidian table, motioning for her to do the same. When she hesitated, he looked at her not as a CEO, not as a protector, but as a man preparing someone for truth she might not be ready to hear. "My mother does not act out of kindness," he said firmly. "Everything she does is calculated. If she gave you that villa, it means she has a plan, and you are now part of it." Sam's voice trembled. "But why me? I have nothing. I don't belong to your world." Ly leaned forward, his gaze burning with intensity. "You're wrong. You belong in places you never imagined. and that he pointed at the deed, is her way of testing whether you will accept her invitation or reject her control. Control. The word echoed through her like a warning bell. She had been controlled all her life by poverty, by circumstance, by fear. Was she about to be controlled by power as well? Before she could answer, the chamber door slid open with a soft chime. A woman entered, tall, graceful, dressed in silver silk that shimmered like moonlight. Her face partly hidden beneath a lace veil, yet her presence demanded reverence. Even the air shifted around her. Sam's heartbeat stopped. She didn't need an introduction. This was her, Madame Aurora. And the faint smile on her lips was not warm. It was the smile of someone who had been watching the game unfold, and had just decided to make her next move. Madame Aurora moved with the elegance of a queen, yet every step felt like a silent command. She didn't look at Ly first. She looked straight at Sam, as if the entire room, the entire world, existed solely for this moment of evaluation. So, Aurora spoke softly, her voice calm yet razor-edged. "You are the girl who managed to make my son hesitate." Ly's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. Sam stood frozen, unsure whether to bow, speak, or run. Aurora stopped just a few feet away from her, eyes sharp behind the veil. "I dislike weak people," she continued. "But I dislike greedy people even more. Tell me, Sam, do you think you deserve what I gave you?" The question was a blade, and Sam felt it cut through her pride. She could lie. She could pretend confidence. She could accept the wealth and play along like countless others would. But something in Aurora's gaze warned her. False strength was worse than weakness. "I don't know if I deserve it," Sam said quietly, "but I know I didn't ask for it, and I won't be bought." Silence. Then, for the first time, Aurora's lips curved. Not cruelly, but knowingly. She turned to Ly. "She has fire." Then she looked back at Sam. "Good, you will need it." Before another word could be spoken, Aurora reached into her sleeve and placed a second envelope on the table. Gold, heavier than the first. "For now," she said, turning away. "Consider this, your next decision." And with that, the most powerful woman in the region walked out, leaving behind a silence louder than any storm. The golden envelope lay untouched on the table, glowing under the soft chandelier light, like a silent temptation. Sam stared at it, not with excitement but with a strange ache in her chest. It wasn't money she feared, it was meaning. Gifts from ordinary people were kindness, but gifts from powerful people were contracts. And she did not yet understand what Madame Aurora truly wanted from her. Ly walked closer, his voice gentler than it had ever been. "You don't have to take it." His hand hovered near hers, unsure if he should hold it. "My mother isn't testing your greed, she's testing your resolve. Whether you take it or not, she respects your choice, but she will measure the reason behind it." Sam closed her eyes for a moment. She saw her past. The days she had to swallow pride just to survive. The moments when she wished someone, anyone, would offer her a way out. And now, standing in a grand villa with more choices than she had ever dreamed of, she felt even more vulnerable than when she had nothing. Because poverty broke the body, but wealth had the power to break the soul. She opened her eyes and met Ly's gaze. "What would you do if you were me?" Ly didn't answer immediately. Instead, he gave her a smile that didn't try to fix her pain, only stayed beside it. "I'd ask myself one question. Do I want this because I need it, or because I've earned it? The answer will guide you." Her heartbeat softened. For the first time since Aurora walked in, she breathed without fear. Sam reached forward slowly, and placed her hand on the envelope. Not to take it, not to reject it, just to acknowledge it. "I'll decide when I'm ready," she whispered, not out of desperation, not out of pride, but out of clarity. Ly nodded. No pressure, no rush. Because love, real love, does not demand choices. It stands beside them. True strength is not shown when we are poor and desperate. Anyone can be humble when they have nothing. The real test comes when life suddenly offers us everything we once dreamed of: love, wealth, security. At that moment, one must look inward and ask, do I still remain myself? Or will I let temptation rewrite who I am? To Sam's dilemma is not about whether to accept a villa or not. It is about something far deeper, the fear of losing her identity in exchange for comfort. Many people believe that the greatest suffering comes from hunger or exhaustion. But in truth, one of the most painful struggles in life is having to choose between dignity and opportunity. Some people accept kindness as a burden, always anxious that they must repay it. Others accept generosity with greed, seeing it as a shortcut to power. But the rarest kind of person is the one who pauses, breathes, and decides to receive, not because they are weak, not because they are proud, but because they are ready. That is the lesson hidden beneath Madame Aurora's test. She was not gifting a villa. She was measuring character. Because wealth in the hands of the wrong soul becomes poison, but wealth received with wisdom becomes a tool for transformation. And so, the true mark of maturity is not in refusing help nor in blindly accepting it. It lies in knowing when you deserve it. Love, at its purest form, is not about rescuing or being rescued. It is not about one person giving and the other receiving. It is about standing side by side, not above, not beneath. Ly did not want Sam to accept the villa because she owed him or his mother. He wanted her to accept it only if she felt worthy of it. That distinction is what separates protection from possession. A relationship built on gratitude alone will eventually turn into debt. A relationship built on pity will turn into imbalance. Only a relationship built on mutual respect can survive storms. Ly's greatest strength was not his wealth or influence. It was his ability to love without trying to control. He did not force Sam to choose quickly. He did not demand that she prove her loyalty. Instead, he offered her something even more powerful than material comfort, the freedom to choose her own pace. And that is the kind of love that helps people grow instead of shrink. In life, we all meet moments where someone offers us more than we think we deserve, a kindness to great, a love to deep, an opportunity to grand. Our instinct may be to run away, fearing that we will disappoint them. But perhaps the true act of courage is not in rejecting the gift, but in choosing to grow into the kind of person who deserves it. Not tomorrow, not instantly, but steadily, with dignity. Because in the end, self-worth is not something others hand to us. It is something we choose every time we decide to rise instead of retreat.